This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Everyone's thankful.
This is today's 60th birthday of the greatest quarterback
Dan Marino.
in Dolphins history.
I don't forget Jesse Davis. It's Jesse Davis' birthday too. But go ahead.
Would you mind talking about just your relationship with Dan? Do you talk a lot? How often do you talk? Does he text you ever? What's that relationship been like?
Yeah, I think Dan's done a great job being in our meetings. He has a lot of input in our meetings. Happy birthday to Dan. I got to see Dan today. Wished him a happy birthday. But yeah, he's not much of a texter. But in person, Dan sits in our meetings. He helps us with things that we don't see or we never thought of seeing. But yeah, I think it's really good to hear it from his perspective, someone who's played the position.
So I'm wondering if you've spoken to Fitz since he got hurt.
I have spoken to Fitz, but Fitz is going through what he's going through. Wished him the best, but I think this is something that he'll get through. Knowing the kind of person that Fitz is, he'll get through it. So
I was just curious, after kind of reviewing the film from the Patriots game, what stood out to you about the success you're able to have in the opening drives, and then not being able to finish drives later on? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think they made some good adjustments defensively. We came out, we knew what we wanted to do as far as our game plan, but we just got to execute, and we got to finish drives. I think it's tough for our defense to go out there and have 12, 14, 16 play drives. And we're going 3 and out next series. Things like that. So I think that comes down to communication for us and execution.
Just a quick follow-up. Is there I know you're able to generate some explosive plays, and it just so happened that all the time you generate explosive plays, it resulted in scoring drives. Is there also kind of an understanding that as well as making big plays, you still have to kind of methodically drive down the field sometimes to score?
Yeah, I think it's just a mentality of literally taking what the defense gives you. You look at the Patriots defense, they try to keep everything in front of them. They try to minimize a lot of the chunk plays, if you will. So, whatever they gave us, that's what we were out there to take.
Sure. What's your level of comfort as far as from a timing standpoint with Will, and just what does he add to the mix having him back? What's your level of comfort having Will back, and what does he add to that?
Yeah, I think it's fun, and it's good to have Will back. We can see in the game plan what things he can do to help us win this game. But really, it's still things that we need to work with Will on. With me and his timing. And that's what special teams is for. When special teams is out there, I'm pulling him to the side. I'm throwing routes to him, single routes, whatever routes he has in the game plan, and things like that.
You said you connected him with one of your strength coaches. How important was that time in the offseason to build some familiarity?
Well, I've always had a relationship with Will since we kind of picked him up throughout the offseason. We've texted, we've chatted. But really, when I asked him to come out and throw, when he moved down here, he came out, and it was just conversation that we had. He asked me who I was training with, and the rest is history.
Going back to Dan, what's the best advice he's given you about being a quarterback and trying to lead this team, or just a general theme that he always stresses with you?
Pick a guy and let it fly.
So I don't know if someone told you this, but I was told that you're the youngest quarterback ever to win in Foxborough. Based on that, and based on how the game went, and you got the W, of course, what did that game do for you, for your confidence as you lead this offense now? You are the starter.
I mean, it's good. It feels good to win a game, obviously. For myself, I would say I'm a pretty confident person in the things that I can do. That's what I would say to that. Obviously it feels good to win, but I think my confidence comes from within and trusting in my preparation. And I felt like we came into that game well prepared. There were just things that we needed to adjust on. And really, like I've said before, it really comes down to execution for us on the offensive side of the ball.
Did anybody tell you that you were the youngest ever to win in Foxborough quarterback? Did anyone tell you that?
And no, you're the first. So thank you.
Over the 10 NFL starts you've made, you've had a lot of success up tempo. You did at the start of the game Sunday. At this stage of your career, do you have a comfort level to encourage George and Eric on the sidelines to go up tempo when they maybe don't want to, or do you feel like that's not your place to this early in your career?
No, I think we go into these games having a game plan, and it's a mutual game plan where there's a lot of open communication with me, with Charlie, with George, with Eric, and with Flo as well. And we kind of talk through that, pretty much starting today and throughout the whole week. And it's really not said until really the day of the game. So it's continued communication with all of us. And yeah, that's what it is. If us getting on the ball is what's going to help us, execute a lot better, this week, then, that's what we're going to do. If, just getting guys spread out is going to help us, that's what we're going to do.
Will was saying that there's kind of this element of surprise when it comes to the two of you playing together because there's no film, no video of what you guys can do together. Does that excite you at all?
Yeah, it really does. I've obviously seen his film while he was at Houston, and kind of seeing a lot of the routes that, I think he does well in, and then also talking to him, routes that he likes and he does well in as well. But yeah, I think it's very exciting.
The Bills have a couple of safeties that have been together for a long time there with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. I'm just wondering what kind of challenge they present for you in your pre-snap reads and your post-snap kind of going through your checks. Like what kind of challenge do they provide to your game?
Yeah, they provide a good amount of problems for us. It's a veteran defense, so with Jordan on one side and Johnson on the other side, Milano inside, Edwards on the other side. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. They could spin the coverage. They could bring 40 or 58 or 49. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. But for us offensively, if you don't know, you just got to stick to your rules. Just always revert back to your rules, and you'll be fine.
Near the end of the last game, there was a passing play called, and you guys had a 1-point lead, and you dropped back near your end zone and threw the slant to Devontae. What kind of confidence, what kind of message is that for you to be called upon to pass in that situation where it could just be a let's run a bunch?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a pass play. It was really a run play, but there's force in the box, and we can't take care of it. We don't have enough guys unless you guys want me to block, but I'm not going to do that. So by taking care of that, that's how we do that.
So
is by taking.
You switched into a pass play.
Well, we had that in, so that's what I'd say.
It looked like I looked at rewatched the game. It looked like the first play of the game that you ran, except for you hit. And when you get to that late in the game, how much are you talking with George and Eric and Charlie and saying, hey, this is what I like, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I feel comfortable with that late in the game? How much effort do you have?
Yeah, well, with it being that late in the game, I think as a quarterback, you got to understand situational awareness. You're really not trying to give them the ball back to go down and drive and kick a field goal. So really we're trying to run the clock down. They had 3 timeouts. We're trying to make them use their timeouts. But more importantly, we're trying to get a first down. I think 2 first downs in that situation is really what helped us kind of take over, that ending of the game. I think it was about 3 minutes and something. So I think it was big. I think that was really big.
I have to ask you one more about Dan. I apologize, but pick a guy and let it fly. Is that, I'm sure he's sharing a lot more than that, obviously, but is that a reminder that even in a game that can seem very complicated sometimes, there is a simplicity to it, that sometimes it can really be not that easy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a simplicity to what he's saying, and there's a simplicity to doing things right, I think.
Yeah, we have a saying in the quarterback room, keep the easy things easy and then try to make the hard things simple for yourself,
So where do you feel you are in your game in terms of going through progression, getting to the second and third read? Where do you feel?
I'd say I feel good, but obviously it's it's a continued process for me. It's a continued process for all of us to continue to learn. Week 1, we got to win, but we're moving on to week 2, and this is our focus now. So, thank you, guys.
This is the Big O Show.